Good morning from Tire Rack World Headquarters here, and welcome to the Tire Rack One Lap of America, presented by Grassroots Motorsports.
I'll tell you what, this thing is super fast down the straightaways.
It's maybe 10 p.m. It's probably still Ohio. If we play our cards right, we'll be getting in about 3 a.m. this morning. What do you think, Andy? You having fun yet?
This is not fun. This thing's awesome. Three passes all within like hundredths of each other. It's pretty cool.
It's a beautiful morning in South Bend here. We're at the host casino here, walking out to our fully charged electric car. Oh, and a sweet box next to it. Look at that, taking up a charging spot. I think that's going to be a decent sign of what our week is like. Good morning, Hyundai. So welcome to Tire Rack. We're in their warehouse, but we are also in their installation facility where you can get your tires mounted. And we're on their alignment rack with their Ioniq 5N. So our goal here is to do a few things to our Hyundai. So we have some track brake pads from Porterfield. We're gonna put those on the car quick. And then we also need to mount our branded tires for one lap. So we're gonna go with the Michelin Pilot Sport S5. New tire we've never tried before. We're gonna see how it goes. And we're also gonna put some camber bolts in the car. So we've got some, it's a strut front suspension. We've got some camber bolts we're gonna put in to try and get a little more negative camber out of the car, try and make those tires last a little longer. So I'm gonna set the camera down and get to work, and we'll see how it goes. So part of the reason we're doing the prep at Tire Rack is that this isn't actually our car. We borrowed this Ioniq 5N from Hyundai. Actually, we met it like, a day or two before we started one lap. So that's why we're doing all the prep in Tire Rack's installation bay. A lot of people don't even realize that Tire Rack is like an actual company, not just a drop shipper or something like that. And they have this gigantic warehouse with installation services, with mounting and balancing, with heat cycling, with a test track, with an entire team dedicated to testing tires and producing scientific data. So Tire Rack is a huge supporter of Grassroots Motorsports and a huge supporter of One Lap and a huge supporter of us because they opened up their building for us to get our Hyundai ready to go. So for One Lap, we actually had to buy tires from Tire Rack. That's in the event rules. You have to get your tires from Tire Rack. But that's easy because we usually do that anyway. You know, they seem to show up pretty much instantly when you order tires. It seems like they ship the same minute, never mind the same day. And they have warehouses all over the country, which means that they usually are on your doorstep in a day or two, even with regular shipping. They also have, again, like I mentioned, a ton of experts on staff, on the phones. If you actually call Tire Rack or use their website, you'll get real advice from people who actually race and who actually know how tires work, not just people that know they're round and black and that's about it. So we're huge fans of Tire Rack, and we try and buy as many parts as possible from them. And if you want to buy your tires or parts from Tire Rack, I'll put a link in the description to learn more. Okay, check this out. Huge brakes here. Put my hand for scale. Huge brakes on this Ioniq 5N. So these are stock brake pads, and we're going to put on. Oh, where'd the new pads go? Somewhere. Here we go. So we are going to put on this lovely set of Porterfield R4 brake pads. Now, this is the same compound that the Brian Herta Autosport team ran on their Pikes Peak effort. So we're going to put these in the car and hopefully make it a little more durable on track. This is a McPherson strut car. So one nice big strut there holds the front wheel in, which means we need some camber bolts. So this is the OEM bolt, which just kind of bolts that right in there. But if we want more negative camber where the wheel leans in there, we need this smaller bolt with this little nice shoulder on it. So we're gonna put that in there and then kind of crank this hub in towards the strut, which should get us another degree or two of negative camber. What's the situation, Mr. Hollis?
So we have limited tools here. We've got quite a bit of toe to get rid of. And we only have a very small 6-inch crescent wrench of the correct size. So we need somebody strong like you.
Or do we need all of the tools I brought?
Maybe.
The ones you mocked me for bringing.
Maybe.
Uh-huh.
Maybe.
Uh-huh.
Maybe.
Oh, it's that damn Honda team.
Those guys are always cutting in front of us.
Well, I guess we have to go around the long way to get to Tech, don't
Yes,
we?
we do. We can pass them. This is 2 lanes. Do it.
Oh, absolutely.
Clear right.
It's like, I gotta get in mode turned on. One of the most important parts about one lap tech is actually getting the sidewalls of your tires spray painted. So they do that for two reasons. First, to make sure everybody knows what tires you're running, and second, to mark the 4 tires that you're legally allowed to use for the event. There's no replacements, there's no second sets, there's no anything like that. You have to use the exact same set of tires for the entire event, all the track stuff, all the street stuff, everything, and you have to make those tires last for thousands of miles. That's one of the challenges of one lap.
And here we go into tech. Highly intrusive one lap of America.
Hello. We would like to be inspected, please.
So most of the teams, including us, do carry spare tires, and those are only allowed to be used in the event of something unexpected. So you can't use a spare if you wore your tire down to the cords or something weird like that, but you can use it in case you get a flat from a nail or, in our case, a giant pothole, something like that.
So we're out in the parking lot of the Tire Rack One Lap of America. See some cool cars here, but we're in front of our Hyundai because we need to, oh, look at that. Got wrenches. We need to set the toe on our car. So because we put those camber bolts in, we got a bunch of negative camber now. Now we need to, give you a little view of Andy under the car. We need to set the toe. We're gonna try and get back to 0. We have something like an inch or 2 of total toe in right now. So you can almost see how bad it is on the car. So we're gonna go ahead and set the toe and then go from there.
So alignment is one of the most debated things about one lap, and the conflict is, do you align your car to be as fast as possible on track, or do you align it to be as easy to tires and as easy to drive on the street as possible, or do you change the alignment every single day to optimize for both conditions? Now, some teams will choose a track alignment and burn through tires. Some teams will choose a street alignment and burn through tires on track or be a little slower. Some teams, like Andy usually would on his CRX, will actually change it every single morning and afternoon to swap back and forth. For the Hyundai, we went ahead and decided to go with a fairly conservative street-focused alignment. So we maxed out negative camber, but that was still only maybe 2 degrees, and we set toe to 0 in the front, figuring that tire wear was going to be our issue more than ultimate speed.
Good morning from Tire Rack World Headquarters here, and welcome to the first day of the Tire Rack One Lap of America, presented by Grassroots Motorsports. We're doing the event in our Hyundai Ioniq 5N, and this is our first day, first event. This is the wet skid pad. So pretty simple. You got to do a couple circles in each direction, see which car pulls the highest cornering load or G load, and then we go on to the autocross at Grissom. So I'm going to do a quick paddock walk here, and then we'll hop in the car. Another interesting entry here is the Michelin factory team running in a C8Z06 and running on all seasons, interestingly enough. So this is the Pilot Sport all season, and in theory, a tire that can pull over a G in the skid pad and also be a true all-season tire. Their sister team there, BFG, running on the all-new BFG G-Force Phenom. Another interesting tire that's new to the market. It'll be interesting to see how that goes. Across the paddock here, last year's champions, Team Goodyear. So very, very fast, very well driven, very extensively tested 911 turbo. Got the tires all covered up, but I'm sure they're running Supercar 3s. Another past champion, Salil, in his 911. Interestingly, went with the RE71 RS. This, of course, is Super K. Honda S2000, Turbo K24 power, BMW DCT transmission, and really interesting one-lap entry. Not quite as comfortable as something like a Porsche. Pretty much a caged race car in there, but still super, super cool.
So one cool thing about one lap is all of the manufacturer support. A lot of car companies will send factory teams, a lot of tire companies will send factory teams, and Michelin went as far as sending the actual Michelin man out to join us for the first day. It's pretty cool to see how this event is elevated by all of the OEMs participating in it. Okay, and just like that, we were done preparing and we were officially competing. The first event of one lap was the wet skid pad held right in front of Tire Rack's distribution center, their world headquarters in South Bend, Indiana. So Andy went ahead and took the car around the wet skid pad, and we really thought we were going to do well here, and we did. Our rain-focused tire choice paid off, and we finished pretty high up in the standings before heading over to the second event of the first day, an autocross at Grissom Air Force Base.
Okay, just like that, we finished the wet skid pad. So we're gonna get back in the car and go autocross. Next stop, Grissom Air Force Base. Car is loaded up. Andy is somewhere. We're gonna hit the road. So welcome to Peru, Indiana, kind of the middle of nowhere, where we found a Jeep dealership with a fast charger. So it's our first charge of the week here. See, there's a Blink Network charger here. Well, not the fastest thing in the world. We're getting somewhere around 100 kilowatts or something like that. But we don't need that much. Andy's getting a banana break. So we're gonna charge up the car and then go autocross. So since Andy did the wet skid pad, we decided that I would go ahead and do the autocross runs. Kind of a dice roll because neither of us had ever really autocrossed something like this, but at least if nothing else, it was going to be fun. So the most competitive way to do one lap is usually for each day to have one driver per team. Basically, one driver will do the entire day, will do all the sessions, and then the next day their co-driver will go ahead and do all the sessions. We don't actually compete like that. Andy and I like to split tracks where one of us will run in the morning, one in the afternoon, and while that doesn't give each of us the chance to get as fast as some of the other teams because we don't have as much time on track, it does let each of us drive every single track, and it lets us compete against each other, which is just a more fun way to do the event, and it means that none of us have a boring day. So my first 3 runs ever driving an Ioniq 5N in a competition environment, and indeed ever driving any electric SUV in an autocross, were pretty wild. We kind of thought the car was going to understeer like a pig, but it really wasn't. It actually oversteers a lot. I actually had to really watch my right foot and make sure I wasn't asking too much of the car because it makes a lot of power and it makes it instantly. So once I kind of calibrated my right foot a little bit and managed to not overdrive the car too much, it was pretty darn nimble on autocross. Now we'd later come to find out that it's doing some torque vectoring and some computer tricks to make it turn in and make it handle well, or at least feel like it handles well before some mid-corner bad habits creep in. But as an autocross car, it was a blast, and it actually wasn't that slow either. We finished pretty high up in the standings considering we were in a big SUV on street tires. Just driving along on another beautiful scenic one lap of America Transit. What do you think? Beautiful road, beautiful day?
I could do it out in the rain.
Aside from the rains and the truck and the potholes and, everything else, it's been a good day.
America's finest highways right here.
Okay, Tire Rack One Lap of America, day 1 in the books. We're plugged into a level 2 charger at a beautiful Holiday Inn Express. Car did great. We charged for a total of I think 40 minutes today. Really not too bad for 300 or so mile transit. So we're gonna get some sleep and then hit Gateway Motorsports Park tomorrow morning. I'll see you there.
Alrighty, good morning from St. Louis. Just outside St. Louis, we're headed to Gateway Motorsports Park. This morning, I'm going to do a little bit of roval action. This is qualifying day, so super important.
Yeah, this is our first time on track with the car, actually.
That's right. So we're gonna learn a lot of lessons, I think, today. We've been struggling a little bit with trying to get the settings in exactly the right place and deciding what the car is going to do for us. This will be my first time driving it hard in anger. The wet skid pad hardly qualifies as angry. And we'll see what things will do. I was able to get some recon laps in at Gateway here a few weeks ago in the old one-lap McLaren that we ran a few years back. I figured that would accelerate about the same as this thing. But who knows what the braking or handling is going to be like, so I'm not sure how much value that, that recon is going to have.
But Andy, where are we going before we go to the track?
Oh, but first, we have to refuel with our alternate fuel here, which is our electricity, because we made a slight error in judgment in reserving a hotel. We ended up at the hotel we didn't think we booked, so this one didn't have a charger at it. So we're on fumes right now, if you will.
We're at 80%, but we want to make sure that the car has as high of a state of charge as possible in order to be as fast as possible and to manage heat as well as possible. So we're going to top it off at a supercharger right outside the track and then head on in and see what it does.
Yeah. You can see which guy here in this team knows about EVs and which one doesn't. Because I'd be lost without Tom.
It's like charging your phone. We'll be fine.
Yeah, there we go.
And just like that, we're at our third competition element of One Lap, which was our first actual track session at Worldwide Technology Raceway in St. Louis. So every One Lap track session starts with a track walk. Basically, there is no practice, no sight laps, nothing like that at One Lap. Instead, competitors are allowed to walk or bike or basically any human-powered mode of transportation. We've seen roller skates before. They're allowed to walk around the track and see if they can figure out the line, figure out what the surface looks like, figure out how to get their cars around as fast as possible.
So what does N-pedal do?
My understanding is N-pedal just maxes out the regen.
Okay.
It might do something else. I don't know. But I know we can do the regen thing just by pulling on this guy.
Nope. Left paddle. Click it a bunch of times, and that will set regen to max.
So left
Like
paddle,
downshifting.
right
Think of it like
button.
downshifting.
Okay.
So and
Left
it'll
paddle.
stay on regen once you put it into full regen mode.
Okay.
So
we'll do that on the line
yeah,
here.
and then just
And
hit.
just to hit the nitrous button.
Yep.
Every
N
time
grin
we're
boost.
straight.
Hit N grin boost.
Now, how do I get the corner rascal to happen?
Yeah. Good luck.
So like any friends, Andy and I enjoy ribbing each other when we're on a road trip, and I got so much pleasure out of treating Andy like your grandparent trying to learn how their iPhone works every time he'd put the car into track mode. So he did eventually get it down and figure out the button dance to get the car to do what we wanted it to do on track. But that first day was a little frustrating trying to make sure he had all the modes set the right way. So one mode that a lot of people were actually surprised we were running was we turned on the fake engine noise. We found that the fake engine noise was really, really helpful to help us get a sense of speed and to help us calibrate our driving without having to stare at the speedometer the whole time. And we're not alone. We actually talked to Brian Herta Autosport, the team that took these cars up Pikes Peak, and they too ran with the synthetic engine noise turned on. It was a really helpful way to get a gauge for how fast you were going and make it feel a little more normal to the driver.
Okay, and there you go. Now, so you just, yep, and then as soon as you release the brake, you're in.
So One Lap starting procedure is also a little weird compared to a normal race. The cars are usually sent out in groups of 4 to 7 cars, and basically that'll be your run group. Now, you'll go out for your outlap, and that starts from pit lane, and you can drive as fast as you'd like in your outlap. Then you'll come to a standing start on the start-finish line of the track, and you'll be sent off one at a time with maybe a 10 or 20 second gap between cars, and you'll have to do 3 laps from that standing start. Now that will be your timed session, basically. There is no best lap or anything like that. Those 3 laps, including the standing start, will be your time for that session. So One Lap's format rewards consistency, and it rewards knowing the tracks because, again, there is no practice and there is no chance to get to know the track. Aside from that kind of 3/4 of the lap you get to go out to the start-finish line.
How was it?
It was different. It was different. It was fast in a straight line, but it wasn't like crazy. Perfectly fine. A bit roly-poly, as you would expect. I mean, that's the biggest thing is you're sitting way up off the ground. So even like a 1 degree change, you move a foot instead of like 3 inches and stuff. And so you feel that through each turn, but it's very stable. I was pleasantly surprised, and I think it's going to be a really fun week.
Awesome.
So we just got back in the car, just threw all of our stuff back in, just did our very first track day in the Ioniq 5N. And Andy, you drove first. What do you think?
It's a very unique vehicle.
Definitely.
It accelerates fairly well, but because the center of gravity is so low, the roll axis of the car is way down close to the ground, but you sit way above it. So if the car rolls, 2 degrees or something, which is kind of normal for a sports car, in a sports car, your body moves maybe half an inch. In this thing, it moves like 6 inches. So you feel very tippy and all, even though the car is still stuck to the ground. So it plays havoc with your sense of where the limit is. So that's something both Tom and I are going to have to work on throughout the week. The car is very stable, very, very, as far as basic grip goes. And it accelerates well. The launch is particularly exciting. So looking forward to getting it on a more traditional road course rather than a Roval.
Yeah, Andy drove first. I don't know, I kind of agree with everything he said. I went second, and man, a lot better track car than an autocross car, or a lot easier to drive track car than an autocross car. We ended up mid-pack, both of us, right around the same times, though
we'd never really driven the car before, and I'd never been to the track before. So we're hoping for a little better times on a more normal track that we've both driven tomorrow. But yeah, sitting mid-pack, haven't broken anything yet aside from maybe one bent wheel from a pothole. So far, so good. So yeah, we've got, I think, one charge stop on the way to our hotel tonight, and then it's time to get some sleep and go to Charlotte. We'll see you there. People on One Lap always ask, you know, how do you pass the time? You know, so many hours in the car, and we're cruising through the middle of nowhere, Missouri right now. And my favorite way to pass the time on One Lap is to make illegal electrical adapters. So I got some service cord, I've got a NEMA 1430 male plug, and I have a NEMA 1450 female plug, and I have my electrician's toolkit here. And in theory, I'm gonna go ahead and make an adapter so we can charge between sessions at Hedge Hollow tomorrow.
And what are we gonna plug our car into?
Oh,
Tom?
The dryer outlet, of course. So we have some intel from one of the other teams that there's an unguarded dryer plug in the garage. So in theory, all this stuff is going to let us charge our Hyundai on it. I'll try and set the camera somewhere and make a little adapter. Okay, quick adapter update. We're out of supercharger, but that gave me enough time to focus on finishing a little charging adapter here. So we'll see if this catches on fire or if it lets us charge our Hyundai. Good morning, and welcome to, where are we?
Just south of Kansas City, headed to Hedge Hollow Raceway.
Yeah, Missouri-ish, or Missouri-ish. So, got our freshly charged Ioniq 5N. Got the charger team over there. We're gonna hop in the car and head to the track.
We are at Hedge Hollow, just south of Kansas City, a private racetrack built by a very successful, wealthy businessman, mostly for his own personal use, but he does allow some other folks to come out here, and fortunately, we're one of them. Very, very, very cool place.
And why are we walking on the track? I don't know if we really talked about that so far.
So we're walking the track because we want to, one, see what it looks like today, in case there's any dirty spots or whatever, but also just to kind of get a feel for the flow of it, because we don't get any practice laps with One Lap. You basically get sent out on one recon lap, and then you got to do 3 hot laps, all of which count. So if you can walk it, you can kind of plan out your approach, get some visual references, breaking points and stuff in your mind, just to do a little bit of homework on it, because videos don't always give you that kind of information. So by walking it, seeing it firsthand, it's much more informative.
Awesome. Well, good luck.
Thank you.
Welcome to the garages at Hedge Hollow. Really fancy. Got a fridge, a little washer and dryer. What we're mostly interested in is the dryer outlet, which in theory, our little homemade adapter from last night will fit into. Oh yeah, we are set. We're gonna have a good day. Okay, so we have our first problem of One Lap, and that problem is we hit a massive pothole on last night's transit. So Andy is jacking the car up now. We're gonna check over our wheels and tires and see why we have a new vibration. No, it doesn't seem that bad, but we just wanted to make sure we're good to go before we go out on track. So, I don't know if you could see it, but there's a big flat spot right on the bottom of our wheel right now. And yeah, that's gonna be a problem. So I know I said earlier that you're not allowed to use a spare tire, but this was one of those rare circumstances where we actually could. So before we could put our spare on, we actually had to send photos to the event organizer, even though he was on the road, and say, hey, we hit a pothole so badly that our wheel is bent. We're worried we might have actually broken some belts in the tire, and we think we need to put our spare on. And now once that was approved, we went ahead and changed, and then we let all the other competitors know that we'd changed to our spare too. Now, it wasn't that big of a deal because we were so early in the week, but there have been some drama and past One Laps from competitors who happened to hit road hazards and such with heavily worn tires and had to switch to their spares. So by and large, the community does a pretty decent job of policing itself, and those games aren't played that often, but racers will be racers. So with the battery topped off between sessions, I went out for my drive in the Ioniq 5N. And I had a blast. This thing, you know, it does feel like you're driving an SUV. It rolls a lot, but it's got a ton of power. It's got a ton of brakes too, as it turns out, and it turns in really nicely. Mid-corner, you know, physics bite you, but on the way into the corner and out of the corner, it's just a joy, and it's a lot of fun. And I've only had the chance to race at Hedge Hollow once before on a past one lap. It's a pretty tough track to access usually, but it's one of my favorite facilities. Just infinite money spent on every square inch of the place, a really fun layout, a really cool surface. I've just got nothing but good things to say about Hedge Hollow, even though I never really have had the gumption to really commit to turn one and send the car all the way into the fence, if you will. And one of the cool things about one lap is you do get to drive tracks like Hedge Hollow that you might not normally get to drive as a mere civilian. One lap has a really good history of going to tracks that you wouldn't normally cross paths with otherwise. So one new challenge on this year's one lap is obviously charging. Honestly, it wasn't a big deal. We were a little hesitant, but I have 7 or 8 years now of EV road tripping experience. So even Andy, who I think he'll pry his gasoline cars from his cold dead hands, he was pretty darn chill about the charging after the first day or two when he kind of got in the groove, figured out how it worked, and figured out that it really wasn't as big of a deal as he's been led to believe.
Andy, party foul. Andy, what do we do every time we get out of the car?
We turn the parking brake off.
Nope, more important.
Oh, we charge.
We charge. Come on, party foul. Always be charging.
It's my fault.
Uh-huh.
He did.
Uh-huh.
We used 30%.
Yeah.
This is about what we thought. So it has a 220. I'll tell you what, this thing is super fast down the straightaways. And then you have to brake, and it brakes great, and then you have to turn. And unfortunately, it's still a 5,000-pound, tall SUV. It's got low center of gravity, but very tall. And on 300 treadwear street tires, there's only so much you're going to get out of that. But it's a hoot. It's a lot of fun. It's a tossable car. Really enjoyed it. So can't wait to get a little more time in it as we go to each of the tracks.
Good evening, Andy.
Hi there, Tom.
Where are we?
We are at Flying J.
We're at dinner.
Oh yeah.
We have some gas station fish pucks
and some
pizza.
Gas station pizza.
But more importantly, we have a 350 kilowatt DC fast charger plugged into the car. So we've got somewhere around a 15-minute stop here. This is the only food we're going to find, at least the only food we're going to find in 15 minutes. So we're going to eat this and then hit the road for NCM. ETA 2 a.m. You feeling fresh? Ready to drive all night?
Oh boy.
Woohoo! We'll see you there. Okay, welcome to the middle of nowhere, somewhere between Missouri and Kentucky. I think we're in Illinois right now. It's 10 o'clock at night. I've got whatever Red Bull I could find in the checkout counter at the Walmart we're in front of. Car's charging at 260 kilowatts, and we've got 3-4 hours of driving left to do. Yeah, welcome to One Lap. Did I miss anything, Andy?
You got it.
And with that, another day, another track, this time NCM Motorsports Park in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Our routine this morning was the same as it's been every other morning. Unload the car, walk the track, find some coffee, find some semblance of breakfast, and then put our helmets on and go to work.
Hey, Andy. What do we do when we get out of the race car?
Take the stuff out of the wheel well that was floating around that we forgot to pull out, and then we start charging.
What's great about NCM is I have lots of laps at NCM, so I could focus in on what the car was doing, and we're starting to really get a handle on the car. You know, the big thing that we're trying to come to grips with is the seating position is so high because it's an SUV that you feel like you're on the top of the mast of a sailboat when it goes through a corner. So even the slightest bit of body roll feels like you're about to fall over, but it's not really going to fall over. It's just you feel that way. Right. So you have to fight this sensation that, oh my gosh, this is a really bad situation. So yeah, we're working on that. But as far as the car goes itself, it does almost all the phases of a corner really, really well. It accelerates fast down a straight, it brakes really well, it turns in really well. but NCM has a number of places where you're sitting in the middle of a steady state corner, just grinding away.
Yeah,
And at that point,
it just
we could
rolls over and just grinds sidewall.
Yeah, and we could just feel all 5,000 pounds tearing into those sidewalls of the 275 section width tires, screaming for mercy.
But then you get to exit the corner, and it puts down power incredibly, and it's fun, and it.
Yep.
And I also thought, looking at the data, was interesting. Our first lap, which on one lap is from a standing start, was the exact same time as all of our following laps,
Yep,
which is
exactly.
hilarious.
Yeah. I mean, some of that's the position of the starting line at NCM, but a lot of that's just the fact that it just instantly goes up to maximum speed with just crazy acceleration. The whole EV torque thing is real, and it's something everybody needs to experience at least once in their life.
Yeah. Now, and energy-wise, you used about 30% of a charge in your session. We went across the street to a fast charger for lunch, and then I started with a full battery and used about 30% on my session too,
Right.
or 35% because I forgot to turn on the regen setting.
Yeah, so that's kind of interesting too. So I had regen going and was
Which a Hyundai calls in pedal.
That's right. So I was getting some of the energy back from braking, where you were turning all of your braking into heat and brake dust. So you used more energy than I did. So I feel better about the planet with the way that I'm racing.
Exactly. And I was purposely running with in pedal turned off because I didn't really like the kind of heavy regen feel.
Right.
But after seeing what it does to brake temps and what it does to battery charge after a session, I've decided that tomorrow I'm going to go ahead and just turn on the in pedal, leave the regen working, and see if I can just adapt to driving with it.
Sounds like a good plan. Yeah, definitely typical one lap with cars starting to fall off. Usually we lose a good, 8 to 10 cars, and we've only lost a couple.
So let's talk a little bit about the transit we did right after NCM. So we've decided, we had a really good experience on the way to NCM. We've been using exclusively non-Tesla 800-volt DC fast chargers, those are the chargers this car charges the fastest at. That's where you can get that advertised, I think, 18-minute, 10 to 80%. And we decided to keep rolling the dice and keep charging at those faster chargers, even though they're not nearly as reliable as the Tesla networking. At least that's the reputation. As it turns out, they totally are. We had another night of absolutely perfect charges. All of our charge times were 15 to 20 minutes, somewhere in there.
Yep.
We stop every 120 to 150 miles, depending on kind of where they're spaced, how we're feeling, and how the food looks next to them, honestly.
That's right. Yeah, in fact, that was one of the nice things about those chargers. And while I do believe they're a little bit more expensive, the good news is that they all tend to be at certain truck stops that have good food, and or a Walmart or something like that, where you can run in and grab something. Interestingly, with the 15 minutes instead of 20 or 30 minutes, we're actually having to start to rush around a little bit to get our activities.
We're basically like grabbing food and running back to the car.
Exactly, which we did not expect that at all. We expected everything to be very relaxed and all, and so it's been a very different experience once we made that switch in our strategy. But it's also cutting down the time on the transits. We really only got in an hour after other people last night, if that.
Yeah, and an hour after, that means that most of the teams seem to be getting in about 12:30 to 1 o'clock in the morning, and we left NCM at about 3 p.m. and we got in at 1:45 a.m.
Yeah, I mean, one of the hallmarks of this event is that you kind of want to run towards the front. One of the benefits of running to the front is that you get to leave earlier and get on to the next place. Unfortunately, with us running kind of just above mid-pack, we're leaving at that point in time. So we're leaving a solid hour after the pointy end folks when we and then we're adding extra time for charging and all like that. So we're doing pretty good relative to where we were leaving the track.
Well, I think that's it for our NCM update.
Yep. Stay tuned tomorrow.
So one lap schedule is pretty brutal. You don't get much sleep, you don't get much food, and today at least we actually didn't get any little bits to camera. Sorry about that. But we had a fun day at VIR, and then we went all the way up to Pittsburgh International Raceway, where we shot this next little segment. Okay, so we are in the, we just pulled into Pittsburgh, pit race.
Pit race.
Got 3 hours of sleep. Or actually, we got more sleep last night.
Yes.
Day 5, 6.
Something like that.
Of the Tire Rack One Lap of America presented by Grassroots Motorsports. Right. And we wanted to talk a little bit about how yesterday went at VIR. I kind of, for me, I mean, we both drive, we've been splitting tracks every day. My kind of takeaway from yesterday is I'm finally kind of getting used to the car and what it's good at and what it's not good at. And I was starting to get back into the fun and the racing and the competition side of things.
Sure.
So you went out in the morning. How do you feel about it?
It went pretty much as expected. I mean, one of the cool things about VIR is it's a place where you can really stretch the legs of the car, and that's one of the things this thing does really, really well, is accelerate really well and brake really well. So got to use that in a couple of places. That said, this track also has some sections where there's some whoop-de-doos in the up DRSs, as well as in what they call the roller coaster section. And in fact, roller coaster was very much a roller coaster in this car because, you know, even with the active dampers and all, we definitely were finding the limits of what they were capable of handling. The body definitely moving up and down quite a bit as you went through those whoop-de-doos. So the interesting part was it didn't really let go. It's just that you could feel the weight coming down and then coming up and all. And it makes it feel kind of nervous.
It was a revelation to me when I figured out that it wasn't actually going to bounce off the track, that it was basically you just mat the gas and it scoots away and whatever oscillation is happening settles out.
Right. And so that's part of the learning curve is particularly when you're going to these different tracks, because each one has a different character, is just learning to trust that it's all going to end up well.
Right. And like, so my session, I was 2 seconds faster my second lap versus my first, and then another 1.5 seconds faster my third versus my first, or versus my second. Gosh, I'm tired. And I've been to VIR a fair bit before, so that wasn't me learning the track as much as that was me realizing this car wasn't actually going to do anything weird. It was just going to move around while it mostly did what I asked.
Right. Yeah. And that goes back to that whole high seating position thing and stuff like that, and just the general characteristics of this vehicle. But still, again, great performance on the track, and I think we're up to 28th overall
28th
now,
overall
so
after VIR,
sweet.
Solidly ahead of the Dodge. They again were throttling the car to try and limit, basically to try and manage heat yesterday. And we used about 30% of the battery on track for our session. So that seems to be kind of what this car uses on a big track for a full 1 lap session, which is, at least for me, a fairly hard out lap, 3 flyers, and then a cool down.
Right. So if you think about it, it's basically using 10% per hot lap. Is effectively
like
what it is. And so plus, minus a little bit, but that's pretty much it. Which is great. I mean, if you think about it, for somebody who wants to use this car for a track day, that's right in there. I mean, you can,
it'll do a 20-minute session.
Yeah, do a 20-minute session and go find a fast charger somewhere, crank it back up, and head on back in. And so as long as you have those logistics available, this is absolutely a car that you can take to a track day and run like a normal car.
Yeah. So talking charging, we were plugged into a 50 amp RV outlet at VIR, the standard, big 240 volt plugs you find in any paddock. And then we were told that you're not allowed to charge electric cars at VIR for some reason, even though, it's an RV plug. So then we were sent up to VIR's Raceplex, which is kind of their industrial park at the entrance to the facility. We're literally back in the corner, right on the edge of the woods. We found this beautiful Porsche level 2 charging station, nicely landscaped, but just in a little square around the chargers, back in the corner in the woods. So we hung out there for a little bit, topping the car up.
Yeah, worked out really, really well.
Yeah. So after VIR, we had a 8-hour transit.
Yes.
And this transit was a little different. Kind of in a more sparsely populated area of the country, fewer chargers. So we ended up just using Tesla's supercharger network the whole time, which added 10 minutes of charge or so. But it was just reliable and easy. You visited your first Sheetz gas station.
I did.
Had a lovely experience.
What an experience.
One notable thing about this transit, though, is we saw the Model S Plaid team PGR, at every single stop all the way through. So that meant we were transiting at exactly the same pace as the Tesla team that has been doing this for 5-10 years now.
And they leave before we do, because they're in one of the front running groups. So they were actually getting a head start.
That's right. They left the track about an hour ahead of us.
So they were getting a head start and weren't really doing any better than we were. And on a Tesla supercharger, their car being a Tesla, they actually charge faster than we do, because
we're 400 volt versus 800 volt.
Right.
So it's a pretty notable achievement for a non-Tesla EV to be road tripping exactly as quickly as one of theirs. So kudos to Hyundai for that one.
Absolutely. They definitely nailed it.
Okay, anything else we need to cover?
No. Then you can look out the back and see how much fog there is.
Oh yeah, this is. One other thing you can see is they put a big
E on our windshield and on
This will be
the
for,
back of the car.
This will be for pit race.
Yeah, for pit race, so they can see that we have an electric car.
Right.
Interesting.
I thought he was going to put a skull and crossbones on there, but like, just let it die.
So if it isn't obvious from that last little recap we did, we were deliriously tired by this point in the week, and this is the hardest part of one lap. Pretty much anybody can get a car prepped and get to the start line. Pretty much anybody can get through the first couple days, but it's driving in, you know, a high pressure environment without practice, when you're exhausted, when you haven't had any sleep, when you haven't had any food, and when you've been loading and unloading a car every single day for days on end, that's when it really starts to wear on you. So as you watch us hit this first corner at maybe 100 miles an hour from a standing start, think about how darn exhausted we were talking to camera, and decide if you really want to do that if you sign up for one lap. And I should also mention here that pit race is one of my favorite tracks, despite being pretty far away from me, which is why I'm so darn excited for the Tire Rack Ultimate Track Car Challenge, held in conjunction with the SCCA Time Trial Nationals at pit race this September. I'll put a link in the description with more details, but we'd love to see you there, and it's a really good opportunity to drive your own car on this track. So our Ultimate Track Car Challenge is our annual contest to see who has the fastest time trials car in the country, period. No rules aside from some basic safety stuff. No real classes, just bring whatever the fastest car you can get your hands on is, drive it as fast as you possibly can, take home thousands of dollars in prizes, and get on the cover of Grassroots Motorsports. It's pretty simple. Full details at ultimatetrackcarchallenge.com. Okay, welcome to Quaker City Motorsports Park, which is the drag racing portion of one lap. We're paddocking in the staging lanes here. Drag races somewhere. Steve Loudon there in the Viper. You're gonna have a good time drag racing. Oh, right? Yeah, baby. Woohoo! So before we go on track, we are gonna actually rotate tires, because while our fronts are looking pretty good, we've been abusing the rears on the Hyundai. Starting to get a little bit of chunking and a couple of minor issues. Not a big deal. We only have one track day left on one lap, but we're gonna go ahead and rotate them. Somehow this thing's harder on rear tires than on front, so we're gonna rotate those while we've got some downtime, and then go out on track and see how it does bracket racing. Okay, Andy, you're a tire guy, what's going on?
So we just finished rotating the left rear to the right front, and the right front to the left rear in an X pattern, because we had some abnormal wear on each of those. Interestingly, we don't have any abnormal wear on the left front and the right rear. But the left rear tire, which is now up here, had some shoulder wear, basically a chunk taken out of it, most likely from an exit curve from an overzealous driver. And that's kind of typical, you know, big heavy car, not enough camber. You slide in the car, and then you grab something like the teeth of an exit gator, and then you get that kind of thing. In the rear, which was the front, you've got some odd wear on the very inside. Kind of tricky to see from this angle, but right on the inside edge, you know, it's kind of like toe wear, but the other side isn't like that at all. So we think it's something to do with the way the thing is putting traction down coming off a turn. Because one of the things we've been focusing on, especially today myself, was rolling power early coming off the turn, which the way the torque split works is it throws all of the energy into the rear motor because the front is fully saturated. Makes you lots faster, but apparently it's putting a significant load on the tire. So going forward, the other thing we're going to do is we're going to add a bunch more air to it, because we've only got one more day at the track at Grattan tomorrow. So we're going to add a bunch more air to try to keep it a little more centered, keep it off of those shoulders. So I think we've got a good handle on it. Our wear is really good on the PSS 5s overall. We're still well above the wear bars. We've got probably 430 seconds. So the tires are maybe halfway worn and relatively even wear. But it's we just had those two weird abnormalities that we're fighting with right now.
So I actually have a tiny little bit of electric car drag racing experience, believe it or not. We're not a drag racing magazine, we're not really an EV magazine, but I actually have an F-150 Lightning daily driver, and I have run it down the strip before. So I knew that it really wasn't going to take any driver skill to run a fast time. I mean, EVs are simple. You basically put it in launch control and mat the gas and let the car do the work. But I'm terrible at cutting a good light. My reaction time is pretty miserable because I've barely drag raced. Andy, though, actually is really, really good at drag racing.
not because he's a drag racer, but because of all of his pro solo experience. So Andy has decades of experience competing in the SCCA's pro solo program, where you start from a drag racing tree. It's basically on a cross, but faster from a standing start at a drag tree. So we decided that Andy would be our bracket racer because he has the best, most consistent reaction times.
Okay, 3 races in a row. How's your bracket racing car?
This thing's awesome. Three passes all within like hundredths of each other. It's pretty cool.
You have enough battery to do.
Oh, at least 100 passes.
Now you could do, you could do at least 90 passes. Okay, don't be exaggerating here.
This thing's a hoot.
Do you think Korean electric cars are going to take over American drag racing?
Strong possibility. Yeah. No.
Okay, quick little update. Got some food from a Flying J. It's maybe 10 p.m. It's probably still Ohio. We're at another one of these GM Energy fast chargers, and I just woke up, so it's my turn to drive and Andy's turn to sleep. If we play our cards right, we'll be getting in about 3 a.m. this morning, and then we got to be back out of the hotel at 5 for another hour-long drive to get back to the track, or to get to the track. What do you think, Andy? You having fun yet?
This is not fun.
Hey, we're already halfway there. I'm gonna eat my whatever this is. So after 2 hours of sleep at a Super 8, we found ourselves at Grattan Raceway, which is a super cool track in Michigan that a lot of OEMs test there. Very old school track. And one thing you'll see here is Andy going into his trance that he goes into before every single session, where he will watch YouTube videos or his own in-car or whatever he can get his hands on to learn the track's layout. And then he will actually sit down and visualize the track, usually with his eyes closed, driving through it, making sure he remembers which corner is going to be where. It's kind of a fascinating little ritual he has, and it's always interesting to see people kind of stop and stare when they catch him doing it before he goes out on track. But you can't really argue with the results. Andy's quick, and he's been quick for a long time, and this is a big reason why.
This track has so much to it. Not only that, but the grip level is very odd because it's got a lot of sealer on it. And sealer delivers a very different friction experience than does normal asphalt. So when you're on it, the car is just kind of skittery, makes a lot of noise and things. It's hard to have confidence in it. But this track has so much. It's got big elevation changes, but it's also got micro elevation changes. And our big heavy 5N here, there's a number of places I was getting light and the car was just moving towards the edge of the track and things. And so I'd love to have a whole bunch of practice laps here, but all we did this morning was just walk it. So it was, terrifying was about the right word for it. So I can't wait till Tom gets a chance to experience that.
Yeah, it's going to be something. We'll see how it goes.
What'd you think, Tom?
Man, that was a blast. I don't know. It's like an autocross with banking.
Right.
The thing didn't, the Ioniq didn't skip a beat. I think I finally, at the end of the week, of course, figured out that if you turn in a little more than you should in a front wheel or in a car that's understeering, the computer goes, oh, he wants more turning, and then it just sucks you right into the apex. So that was super cool to kind of finally figure out. I think by the third lap, I figured out my line around here. And I was pushing the jump more and more and more each lap. I didn't get wheels in the air, but at least I think I know how to. So I'm excited to come back someday. That was a blast, and the car doesn't skip a beat. Lets me focus on the track. Okay, we just finished our last track session of One Lap of America.
Yes, we did at Grattan, and what a great day. I mean, very cool track. Neither Tom or I had driven there before, and so it was a day of discovery.
I thought it was a blast. I don't care what you call it. That place is awesome.
Yeah, I was a little terrified in the morning, not knowing where the heck I was going, but it was fun.
Yeah, total blast. So as is tradition, we're going to Cracker Barrel to celebrate. That's
right.
Every one lap, at least one Cracker Barrel stop has to be made. We haven't done one yet, so we're going to go hit a Cracker Barrel somewhere around Grand Rapids, and then back to Tire Rack for the dry skid pad, right? Because dry skid pad tomorrow. So one scored event left, and then we see who takes home the one lap glory, and we get to try drift mode too tomorrow, right?
That's right.
We'll try drift mode and see how it goes. See you there.
One of my favorite annual traditions at One Lap is the survivors photo. This is usually the cover of the yearbook, and it's basically every single car that's still in the competition pulls onto the tire rack test track, and they shoot a giant group photo of everybody saying, "Oh my gosh, we made it." So you can see how happy everybody is rolling in, and pretty psyched to have survived the week. So after that, the final event of the week is the dry skid pad at Tire Rack. This is done at the end of the week because in theory it burns up tires pretty badly, but teams are about to be done and use them all up. So one question a lot of teams asked was, why is the blinker on when you're on the skid pad? And that wasn't an accident. A lot of people thought Andy's hand slipped or something like that, but the reason for that is that the Hyundai puts on a handy little blind spot view when you put the blinker on to show you what's in the lane next to you. And when you're on a skid pad, one of the best ways to improve your time is to be as close as you possibly can be to the cones, to run as small of a radius as possible. So by putting the turn signal on, it displays a great view of exactly where the rear tire is in relation to the cones, and makes it a little easier to keep your circles consistent.
Okay, that's another one lap in the books. We just dropped off our Hyundai back at Tire Rack, actually. Threw the keys back in the center console, and we're carless again. Time to fly home and go on to the next thing.
That's right. So skid pad went really well today, and we held our position in class and all. We got some trophies, and we got to watch some other folks get some trophies.
It was an awesome one lap. I mean,
it really was.
You know, we set out, not really knowing what the EV life was going to be like,
right,
how the car was going to work, whether you could really do a week on track in a 5,000-pound SUV. We did it all. I mean,
we did.
And it's too early to speculate about next year, but let's just say somebody's been shopping electric cars.
Quite possibly. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, so we learned a lot, had a good time. All we had to do to the Hyundai was put the stock tires back on, and it's ready to go out to the next adventure.
Yep.
So, see you there.
So I'm back in the shop. I don't have a Hyundai anymore. We delivered it back to the mothership, grabbed our stuff, flew home. And on the flight home, I was kind of reflecting. We just did 3,000 miles of road trip on a really tight schedule with track sessions in an electric car, and really almost forgot to talk about the electric car part of it that much. It was just pretty remarkable how far the technology has come and how painless it really was. I mean, we really weren't that far behind the gas cars. We were maybe 20 minutes or an hour behind them after a 700-mile transit. I mean, that's really just not that big of a deal these days. And we actually got some hardware for our efforts. So we won second place in stock touring, for basically just stock cars, and third place in alternative fuel behind that Tesla Model S Plaid and that Chevy Corvette E-Ray, that C8 hybrid with the built motor. But I'm not salty about that. So at the end of the day, the Hyundai was an absolutely amazing car. It was an amazing street car. It was a darn good track car, but it just couldn't quite overcome the limitations of being a 5,000-pound SUV. So I should also probably mention that this video wasn't in any way sponsored or supported by Hyundai. They did loan us a car. They did make some technical expertise available to us just in case we needed it, but they didn't actually pay for this. We didn't get Hyundai checks. I didn't even get as much as a free t-shirt, and they did promise to bill my credit card in case the car had any new scuffs or anything on it at the end of the week. So thank you a ton, Hyundai, for loaning us a car, but this isn't sponsored content or a Hyundai commercial or anything like that. And we really were free to say whatever we wanted about the car, including complaining that my phone never did link up with it despite a week of trying to get it to pair with the app. So thanks for letting us abuse your car for a week, Hyundai. If you want to see more content like this, please make sure you like and subscribe. And until next year, we're going to be back in the shop playing with other cars.
Support brands that support Grassroots Motorsports. Get your chemical solutions from CRC Industries. Visit crcindustries.com to learn more.
Want to see more content like this? Make sure to hit that subscribe button and like this video. And for more information, visit us online at grassrootsmotorsports.com.